Keisuke Takahashi of the Akagi Red Suns better watch his back, because his FD is no match against the Dome Zero, the new uphill drift king. What do you get when you mix Initial D and Gran Turismo, you might ask? Well, Capcom has the answer, and their answer is Auto Modellista, initially released on the PS2 in 2002 in Japan. Later it made it to America in 2003 on the PS2 and GameCube, and then the next year on the Xbox. The footage in this review is from the original Xbox version. Auto Modellista mixes semi-realistic car handling with even more customization options, at least visual options, than Gran Turismo had at the time, with a cel-shaded anime style. This game launched right around Initial D's peak popularity, so Capcom, I'm sure, thought that they had a hit on their hands. And with a few slight changes, this game could have been a huge success. I'm honestly surprised this game didn't get at least one sequel to try to iron out some of the kinks here and there, because it's a very solid game. Okay, so when the game boots up, you just pick any of the unlocked cars in the game, which are about 90% of the cars total, and you give it a name, give it a license plate, and there you go. All the cars in this game are free. All the upgrades in this game are free. There's no currency. You just unlock upgrades and new cars as you progress through the campaign. But you start with most of the cars unlocked, but not very many of the performance upgrades unlocked. There's a pretty wide variety of cosmetic upgrades in this game. You didn't see anything like this until at least Need for Speed Underground, and that came out the following year. The racing in this game takes place on Japanese highways, Japanese mountain passes, and a couple actual tracks. The tracks are good and are very detailed and look nice, but one of the bigger problems in this game is that there just aren't that many of them. And that's a general theme, I think, in this game, is what's there is very good, there just isn't a lot of it, other than a surprisingly decent car selection. When I was starting to play this game again, I looked at old reviews just because I was curious why this game never really caught on. A lot of reviewers were complaining that the cars were hard to handle. I will admit that this game kind of does have unique physics and unique handling. It's not quite sim, but it's not arcadey at all. It's definitely closer to maybe Gran Turismo 2 or something like that. But the game it feels like it's always trying to push you into drifting, but drifting destroys your speed and momentum so much, so you're trying to fight against drifting more than anything. The paint editor is better than pretty much any racing game at the time. You can paint individual parts, you can edit vinyl wraps and everything. Like, I didn't see anything like this until Forza came out, which is really cool. I like how the cities are very detailed. They have like this kind of outrun style vibe to it. It kind of reminds me of the upcoming game Drift Stage to an extent. It's a very aesthetically pleasing game to play. Like, even now, 15 years later, still looks really good. There are a variety of tracks in that, there's regular circuits, there's highway, there's uphill, there's downhill, there's even a dirt track for some reason. There's only one dirt track, but you can buy dirt tires for your cars. It's like it was a feature there. I feel like this game, in a lot of ways, could have benefited from another, couple months of development time, just to add a few more tracks, a more fleshed out campaign mode. Because what's there, again, is very cool. It's just, it's over too quickly. The whole campaign of this game I finished in just a couple days, playing a couple hours here and there. One weird thing about the campaign is you can pick any car whenever for any race. It doesn't matter, and the opponents the game chooses for you are based off of the car you pick, but it doesn't seem to take your upgrades into account. So if you pick a really, really low tier car and then put max upgrades on it, you'll just fly by everybody. But if you pick a really, really fast car, and even with the max upgrades, you're still going to have a hard race. So you're actually better off finding some of the slowest cars, but not the slowest. Because for some reason, if you pick like the very, very slowest cars in the game, it doesn't matter what you do, you just get annihilated. So, like, picking the slower but not slowest cars in the game and then fully upgrading them, you'll have like zero trouble going through the whole game. There are a decent amount of cars in this game. I was surprised. But probably 90% of them are JDM cars, which is fine because it fits the aesthetic of this game perfectly. It's just if you're looking for a lot of American or Italian or, you know, European cars, you're not going to find them in this game. They're very, very heavily weighted towards 90s JDM cars, which is perfect because it's trying to be like an Initial D style racing game, and that's the kind of cars that were in that show, so it's perfect for that. The colors are bright and vibrant. It's very, very, very good looking, and the replays are always fun to watch, kind of like Gran Turismo replays. Like, say what you want about those games, they've kind of, you know, fallen from their glory at the top of the racing game castle, whatever, but the replays are always fun to watch. One other feature this game has, when you're finished with the campaign, you unlock this circuit where you play as a remote control car version of the car you pick, and it's just like, you're just tiny on this regular sized racetrack driving around. It's a fun little addition, but you know, it doesn't add like a huge chunk to the game. One thing I was not able to try, obviously, is the online multiplayer, and I feel like this game could have been a lot of fun playing it online. It would have at least definitely added some life to it, since the actual campaign's not very long. Another feature this game has is you're able to customize your garage for some reason, and as you go through the campaign, you unlock new things for your garage. It's kind of weird. And one last feature this game has is a very strange replay editor where you can add all kinds of visual effects and different music and stuff to your replays. So I will let this replay I made play in the background as I talk about my final closing thoughts of this game. This game came out a year after Gran Turismo 3. I feel like Capcom actually was close to something here, competing with Gran Turismo, but with having, you know, an anime style. And I'm not exactly sure why this didn't really catch on, because it's a very fun game, it's beautiful to look at. It's just, the only complaints I see really were the controls, and I don't think they're that bad. They just take a few races to get used to. They're definitely similar enough to Gran Turismo that anyone who was a fan of Gran Turismo could, you know, get used to this game very quickly. It's not that hard. The only thing I can think of is that there just isn't quite enough content in this game, so people would, you know, buy it, play through it in maybe a week at most, and be like, well, I guess I'm done. You know, online wasn't as prevalent as it is now, so if this game could have had either more content, or if it would have been a little bit later when more people were online, it could have, you know, gotten a bigger online following, this game could have been something cool. I mean, I feel like it at least deserved one sequel to iron it out, to add some more features, add some more content, and see what it really could have done. This was a very cool game, and I'm sad that, you know, this is it. This is our only version of a game like this. I think cell shading in general, you know, it's not as popular as it used to be, and that's a shame, because while other games are going for photorealistic graphics that look dated in a couple years, a game like this still looks great 15 years later because of the graphical style. So I'll just leave it at that. I really enjoyed this game. I'm one of the people who didn't really give it a chance 15 years ago because I heard it wasn't that great. But that's how it goes, you know, like, it's the risk you take when you listen to these bigger companies and what they think about games, because, you know, they don't necessarily have the same taste as you do. So if a game looks interesting, I would say go for it. At least try it out, because you never know what you're going to be missing out on. Alright, so that's Auto Modellista. That's all I've got for you right now. If it looks cool to you, check it out, and I'll talk to you guys later.